Brian to do a roll call.
Mayor Lavalley,
Here.
Councillor Florent,
Here.
Councillor Kuyak,
Here.
Councillor Rodnick,
Here.
Councillor Sidoc,
Here.
Councillor Pijot,
He's just coming.
he's just arriving.
There he is.
Councillor Pijot.
Yes.
present. Councillor Collins,
Council Collins and Fire Chief Collins are joining by Zoom.
they haven't joined us, so
There'll be a little watchman to come in.
I'll keep an eye out for them to join us.
Okay. We just started, Council Pigeon. We got you on the roll call. We'll give
My
you,
apologies.
no problem.
Didn't see the wood for the smoke.
Okay, I will begin with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, especially the Madawaskini people of the Madawaska River. We further acknowledge that the Algonquin people have been stewards of this land since time immemorial, and we strive to treat the land with the flora and the fauna it supports. The people, their customs and traditions, we treat them with honor and respect. Today, this area is home to people of all walks of life, and we acknowledge the shared opportunities and responsibilities to live, work, and survive within this beautiful territory. She which all my relations. On the amendments to the agenda, on the agenda, there is 3 items that I would like to add, if I may, and I'll open up to see if any other councilors have any additions or amendments. The first amendment is to accept the audited financial report that's going to be presented to us by Aaron Thompson of McKelligan and Associates. And the second item is to add a report from the Public Roads Superintendent, which you have put on your emails this morning. Thank you for being here, Stephen. And the third item is asking the members of council to go into a closed session near the end of our meeting today, because Brian and I would like to discuss a possible litigation matter. So with that, I'll see if any other members of council would add any amendments to this agenda. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion.
Councillor Collins is trying to get in. She's having some issues with the meeting ID and passcode.
Okay. You want to just give her a second?
Maybe give her just a moment to get in,
Okay.
so that she's
Yep.
aware the agenda changes.
Okay. We'll pause for a moment. I'm my boss being challenged.
There's the problem. She has the wrong meeting code.
Oh, okay. Are we
How you can do that so nicely. Well done. Yeah. Maybe I'll clear off that smoke.
I think we need some room.
work.
That is.
Yeah, it's so dry. You can really smell it too.
Today, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was maple or oak, but
Yeah.
you know, it tasted fine.
It was sweet smelling, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's not good though. All shaking and stuff. I don't know if they got that fire near Calabogie under control. Anybody thinks? Yeah, they did. Yeah. Good.
Good.
And they're talking about coastal evacuation, right?
They were, yeah. He was trying to get out of its way.
Mhm.
Possibly rain on Friday. Bancroft got a storm apparently last night.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I sure it's gonna do something because it was pretty.
Got a little wee bit of rain in Redford. They have a little wee
A
bit.
little bit, I have to count the drops.
Yeah, exactly. No.
There we go.
Then,
I think I finally got her.
good morning, welcome, Councillor Collins, you in?
Hello.
Morning.
Sorry about that. Just a little bit of problems with coding, etc.
Okay, well, welcome from England.
Thank you very much, Ethel.
We've just started, Councillor Collins, we're just looking at an amended agenda. We've looking at adding 3 items.
Okay, I have an item to add as well. I don't know whether Brian Martin has stepped in and put my addition on there, but I do
No, I
have
have
an
not.
addition if it hasn't been added with regards to the site at the landfill attendance, portage on and possible other issues too. Please.
Okay, so maybe we should put that under our closed session.
No, it doesn't. No, it can go in open forum.
Okay, okay, we're okay to add it.
Yeah.
You want to know what the other 3 items are?
Yes, please.
Okay, the first item is we're going to need a resolution to accept the auditor's report, and the auditor will be doing a presentation.
Thank you.
The second item is to add the report that Stephen Ronholm is going to do on the public roads.
Okay.
And the third item is we're asking members of council to move into a closed session to discuss a possible litigation matter.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So with that, I'll move it. I need a move and a seconder, and I'll get Brian to read the resolution. That's okay.
Okay, back to order.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by,
The moot. I need a moot.
whoever moved and seconded by. Been moved and seconded.
Moved by Councillor Florent, seconded by Councillor Rodnick, that the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopt the agenda as circulated for the regular meeting of June the 6th, 2023.
And property moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Do we have any items of pecuniary interest from any members of council? Okay, with that, I'll move it right over to our presentation. Welcome Aaron Thompson from McKelligan and Associates to bring us the township annual audit report. So welcome. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you for having me. So we're just going to go over the statements just at a high level. If there's any questions as I go, feel free to stop me and ask any questions along the way. So we'll start with the management responsibility page. It's the second page in the package. So this outlines that the statements are management's responsibility and that they've been prepared in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. And then we're going to move over to the independent auditor's report. So there are 4 paragraphs there. The first one being the opinion paragraph, and says that we have done them with the Canadian public sector accounting standards, and that the consolidated statements have been audited and in our opinion have been presented fairly. And we also have the responsibility of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. This section of the audit report describes the responsibility of those in the organization that are responsible for the preparation of the financial statements. And then the auditor's responsibility just indicates that it's our job to express an opinion on the consolidated statements. And the audit was conducted in accordance with Canadian generally accepted auditing standards. And there is some additional information. We provided another link if there's an interest to look at that on our responsibilities as an auditor. Then we'll move on to the consolidated statement of financial position. So I'm going to go through these and touch on, as I said, if there's any questions, let me know. So cash is down from last year by about 128,000, mostly related to the capital investment, which we'll also look at. That would be the bigger one. And then taxes receivable, they're up by about 33,000. They're still reasonable, and there's no history of any collection problems. The accounts receivable is down 34,000. That's mainly due to a decrease in HST receivable at the end of the year. And investments are up by about 18,000, and that's additional funds invested into the investments. And the accounts payable and accrued liabilities, they've increased by 102,000, largely related to the capital projects for software and various roads projects. And the deferred revenue, the obligatory reserve, so that's made up of a couple of grants, the gas tax, that's also called the Canada Community Building Fund now, and the NORDS grant, that's deferred and going to be used for future projects. And the deferred other revenue is miscellaneous grants deferred for future costs. The landfill closure and post-closure costs, the change in that is corresponding to the engineer's report. So we rely on them to provide us with the accurate numbers for that. And the tangible capital assets, they've increased by 644,000. That's largely due to the investment in capital. So that would be the net difference between the capital invested and the amortization, net of about 644,000. Inventory of supplies this year, that would be the sand for the roads. And that was what was left over at the end of the year. And prepaid expenses, they were down. Last year, there was some deposits for software. So this year, the prepaids is mainly made up of insurance and license plate renewals. So down at the bottom, you'll see the equity and tangible capital assets. We've noted that's the difference between the capital invested and the amortization. The general fund, you'll notice the difference from last year. We've moved the general fund into reserves. Typically, your general fund would be used for current projects. So if we move them into reserves, it's for future costs and projects. So we've moved that there. So you'll see an increase in the reserves from last year from 1.4 to 2.4 million. And the unfunded landfill closure costs, that's based on the engineer report. If there's any questions on the consolidated statement of financial position.
Are there any questions from members of council on this?
I have one question. You talked about the winter sand, but
Yes.
end of season is not the same as end of year. So
No.
is that done at end of year?
That's end of December.
Okay,
So that's what's left over at the end of December.
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? Maybe Stephen, you can take, no, we can maybe sand more roads next year.
Try my best.
Yep, sorry, it doesn't go bad.
Very likely we used up the extra that was left in December by the end of March, so.
December to March, now they're based on our statements.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Well, that's easy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go, there's, on page 3, there's a consolidated statement of operations. My focus will be on page, we're gonna flip a bit, it's gonna go to page 15. I think it gives a better indication of how the operations went. In the general statement, it has a little 15 at the top. So it's called the scheduled general operations. So in this statement, we take out some of the extras, like the change in landfill, the library, things like that, so it'll give us a better picture of just how the general year went. So I'm going to focus there on. So
Just a quick question.
yeah, sure.
You combined the general with the reserves account? again?
Yes.
And what was the reason for that?
So typically there was a general fund.
Yeah.
Those are usually used for, what that was accumulated surplus of funds. Those are usually used for current operations and current expenses. So, and also for budgeting purposes, it gives you a better idea if everything, reserves are usually for future projects and costs. So we put them into like a general reserve, and there is a resolution that moves everything into general reserves at the end of the year if there's any surplus or deficit. So they've been moved into the reserves for that reason. So can we just go to page 15 there, Brian? I think it's way down.
Which statement is, that's this consolidated statement pack?
No, it's the schedule of general operations. It'll be almost
23, sorry, of our report. That's okay.
The notes to the statement?
It'll be after the notes.
It's after the notes?
Yes, please. Keep going. There we go.
Schedule general operations, yes?
Yeah, so we provide the schedule just as a better picture of how the year went from an operating standpoint, and it takes out some of those extra items that sometimes can skew the budget or the operations.
Just before we go on, so what you're saying, Bill, we're asking was, there's a general account and it has the reserves in it, or are we?
Yes, so if you look at, sorry, we'll look real quick. So on that, you'll see there is a general fund. So we moved it from the general fund basically into the reserves. And there's a note.
There's a note.
for the
5.
reserve. I think it's just a schedule. I'm looking for something. We have what's here? Here would be all the reserves.
Okay.
So on page 16, the page right after the general ops statement, there's a schedule that shows the balance in all the reserves account that'll flow over to the consolidated financial position page to show you where everything is. Okay. If you have any
Okay.
questions, let me know.
Any other question? Go ahead.
Okay. So just looking at the general ops statement now, so the net tax, so it's under budget by about 40,000, and that's relates to various changes in MPAC and subs and write-offs. It's pretty comparable. And then the government transfers, the Ontario and Canada, those are fairly, as a combined, they're fairly comparable. Now, some of those grants are both provincial and federal. So as a total, they're fairly comparable to the budget. So it include a number of different grants that we received this year, including the operating one. And then the other revenue, it's over budget by about 229,000. This other revenue include permits, waste, fire fees. Interest and penalties was one that was over budget. It all depends on what the rates were over the last few years. They've been fluctuating. And then there was some additional other sales such as timber and some donated assets as well. Okay. And then there was a gain on disposal of the tangible capital assets of 16,000. So overall revenue was over budget by about 193,000. And then the expenses, the general government, it's comparable to budget. It's very close. That includes council and administrative remuneration as well as administrative costs. The protection of person and property, that's over budget by the 23,000. And includes fire and withdrawal, building inspection and amortization of capital for the protection. So the over budget relates mainly to increased fire costs and additional wages as well. And transportation services, that's comparable to budget and includes road salaries and maintenance costs of roads and equipment. The over budget relates to various things like equipment maintenance and fuel costs. There was some maintenance this year that was unable to budget for. And the environmental services, that includes waste collection and disposal. So it's over budget by about 50,000, relates to additional wages as well as recycling and repairs and maintenance of various equipment. Health and services includes your ambulance costs and your local health unit costs. So that's pretty comparable. And social services, that includes your amounts paid to your social services board and the operating for the old age home.
That's DSAB and Castle Home.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Is our OPP, our policing?
Yep, that would be in protection.
Protection.
Yeah.
Protection.
Yeah. Recreation and culture services, that would include your maintenance of recreation building as well as your equipment and supplies and costs of your recreation activities. And your planning and development would include your planning, wage and costs as well as your official plan that was included in there this year. So overall, there is an excess of revenue over expenses of 254,000. And then there's transfers. So those will be transfers to the library board, to reserves, and your transfer to equity and tangible capital assets. So there was 81,000 to the library. And then there is the transfer to the reserves of 997,000. And the transfer to equity is 630,000. And I don't know if there's anything there.
I just have a question.
Sure.
I want to make sure in my
Absolutely.
mind, under social services,
Sure.
in that 2022, we actually spent 681,000
Yes,
to just the district social services board and Castle Home. Is
that
it
would be
just
the majority of
two?
it. I can take a look and see if there's any additional items in there.
Could you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
There would also be the building costs in there to run the resource center.
Okay,
As well as Renfrew County District Health Units annualized budget as well as in there.
so rental health is in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Usually
But
three
we
or
can
four
get that
other.
breakdown.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely. If you'd like
yes.
to break down what's in there,
Of course.
provided.
Yeah, I'd like that if I may.
Of course.
Okay, anyone else have any other questions on this? Okay, well, you're getting off easy.
Yeah,
Why not, we're going on to something else?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to touch on one other thing, just as far as just a consolidated statement of cash flow. So it would be, there's a little 5 on it. I don't know. It's a consolidated statement of cash flow. It just gives a,
We're going back.
yeah, we're going back. Sorry.
Okay, not reverse.
It's our number 13.
And I got 3 pages, I got 24, 2016, so 13.
Yeah, so it's the
Okay,
consolidated
thank you.
statement of cash flow. I just wanted to touch on it real quick. It just gives you a better idea of where the cash was spent and how it breaks down and the difference between the cash last year and the cash this year. So you can see we start with the excess of revenue over expenses. And then we add back or deduct anything, any non-cash items such as your amortization, your loss or gain on disposal of assets, and your landfill and your contributed capital asset. And then we add or decrease any changes in non-cash working capital balances. So you can see there's cash flow from operating activities of 925,000. And then down below, it'll show the cash flow used for capital activities. So it breaks down the categories of capital in there. So you had cash flow used for capital activities of about $1 million. And then you had a decrease in cash of 109,000. And then we had the opening balance, and it comes down to 2.5 million in cash at the end of the year. That would include your investments. So that'll tie back into your consolidated statement of financial position.
Okay, any questions on this? Okay, go ahead.
And then one other thing, I know I'm bouncing around, sorry.
That's okay.
I just wanted to touch on the just the library. It'll be a 14
R22.
Sorry, can I go back to the consolidation, please? We've
Yeah,
got
which one?
a health figure, and then we have no health figure for 2022. Health services.
Services. Like this one here, like the 34,000.
No, the
Oh, it's one that
the
cash flow?
consolidation. When we were looking at the consolidation figures.
So those are the that's what was spent in capital for 2022. So there was nothing in health. There's no capital in health this year. There was capital last year in health. That was purchased that year. So in 2021 there was 4,000, and in 2022 there wasn't anything in 2022 for health, for capital. There was expenses, but no capital.
Okay, I don't understand
What would be capital?
where that's gone. So I'm sure I can ask for that to be elucidated.
So the roof was reshingled in 2021. Nothing was completed capital over 5,000 in 2022.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
And then I just wanted to note that for the library, there'd be so we have the cash in the bank that there's only a little bit of interest for the change in cash. And then the due from municipality, that changes based on the expenses and costs. And then the tangible capital assets, that would include any furniture or capital computers that are used within the library operations. It's 26,000 this year. And then when we go down to the income side, there's an increase in revenue there. There was additional grants received for the library this year. And in addition, there was also expenses related to those grants. So the excess of revenue over expenses was 13,000, but that was related to capital. So that'd be the difference between your capital invested and your amortization for this year. And then the accumulated surplus is 85,000 at the end of the year.
Any questions on that? Okay.
So I think that was everything I was there's notes to the financial statements that give a lot more detail to anything that is in the statements that there's, I'm not going to go through all of the notes, but if there's any questions or concerns, I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Member of councils have any questions or concerns? I'm looking at Councilor Rodnick here. Any other?
Financial statements are my life.
I know, that's why I'm looking at you. Okay, any other questions or comments? I just wanted to say before we do the resolution, thank you for all the work that your associates do, and thank you to Brian and to Jennifer for keeping us on track too. I know it's busy. It's busy for a couple of people.
I asked them for a lot. They were good. They were very good.
Well, thank you. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the financial statement, the audited statement.
Yes, I need a mover and a second, right?
Move by,
I'll move it.
oh, it's been moved, Councillor Collins, you want to second it?
I'll second it, sure.
The Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin accepts the 2022 audited financial statements as presented.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so that was. Okay, so we have the minutes of the regular meeting of May 3rd. I'll have a motion to adopt these.
The mover and seconder for the motion, please.
Moved by Councillor Clear, seconded by Councillor Sido.
Sure.
You had your hand up last time.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you.
That the Council for the Corporation of the Township of South Algonquin adopts the minutes of the regular council meeting of May the 3rd as circulated.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, so we're moving on to committee staff and council reports. I'll move to the committees then. We have the library. Charlene is not well, so we'll just, if you have any questions on that report, you can ask Lori, or we can refer it back to Charlene. Are there any questions on the library report? Okay, I guess she's okay then. Thank her first. Hope she's better soon. Okay, who else have I got here?
Fire.
How about our fire chief?
Yes, he's here. Just hang on a moment. We're switching
Okay,
over
thank you.
headsets.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, here's my report for the month of May. With regard to training courses, on the 9th of May, Madawaska practice night, portable tanks were checked and pump operations on new truck practiced. 16th of May was Whitney practice, and that was to do with radio procedures. More about that in a moment. 25th of May, I had 3 members of staff attended Durham College on the firefighters EV course, which was organised in part by General Motors. The feedback from that I've had from the staff was it was a fabulous course. They learnt so much, but of course the big problem was organised by General Motors. It only affected, or the information was only relevant to GM vehicles themselves. Hopefully there'll be more information coming out in the future. There is no generic place to cut for cabling on the different vehicles. The manufacturers won't come together and decide on a standardized practice. So every manufacturer's vehicles are unique with regard to the location of our cut zones for the wiring on the high voltage side for the electric vehicles. It's going to pose a problem for everybody in the future. Calls and responses. 8th of May, I attended and witnessed the Whitney Fire School's fire drill. 15th of May, in Whitney Paradise Road, there was a small structure fire. The 15th of May, I had a request from Minden for mutual aid from our dispatch service. I declined it as it's not within our agreement area. Plus the fact that also it was a water access type wildfire that was burning. It appeared that Minden simply put out a request for mutual aid and all the dispatch services just sent it out to everybody across the region. 16th of May, Madawaska, there was a report of an open fire burning. I attended that location and spoke to the homeowner, and everything was appropriate and correct. On the 19th of May in Madawaska, really early out, late at night. Yep, on Highway 60, there was a camper trailer on fire, attended by the Madawaska team, with Whitney standing by in case it turned into a full structure fire, and then we would have needed more water. 28th of May, again, Whitney got called to Kearney Lake to a brush fire. I declined that and referred it back to the M&R as per the protocols. Finally, the last one, the 29th of May, was the call was Lakeshore Drive to a suspected brush fire. That was satisfactorily dealt with by the Whitney team. Yeah, I missed out the one word Whitney, wasn't it? Under complaints and concerns on the 3rd of May, I visited a location on Highway 60 in relationship to a report of a fire hazard around the building. At the time of my visit, there was no apparent fire hazard visible. Upcoming events in the future, 13th of June, Deputy Chief Tom will be attending the Whitney Schools fire drill on my behalf. And I know, subject to the prevailing fire bans that are on, that in the near future, the Madawaska team will be lighting the fireworks at the Canada Day celebrations, and Whitney Fire Hall will be conducting an open day during the Canada Day celebrations. Under the article of correspondence and others, the Whitney old portable pump is now fully serviced and is back in operation. And immediately that was returned to service, I've taken one of their 3 Wajax forest firefighting pumps in for repair. That will give us 2 out of the 3 will be in service. Then, and the last one will be, it actually awaits a pump repair. The servicing is on the engine side of it. The 3rd one, there's actually a defect on the pump side. And then I've also taken Whitney's old floating pump in for repair. Hopefully we can get both of those resurrected for a lot smaller cost than actually buying brand new. I submitted the newsletter article, which in the main was an appeal for volunteers for both fire halls and reminding residents to clean out their lint traps and hopefully stop house fires from that way. The batteries were replaced in the emergency generator at the Whitney Fire Hall, and that's now back in service, which obviously covers both the fire hall and the paramedic station. At Whitney, I've promoted firefighter Cornier to captain to replace Captain Sydock, who's now moved up to assistant chief. During the month, I was able to purchase 5 used fire nozzles to replace one broken one. It actually was by far the cheapest option, and obviously we increased our number of fire nozzles from 1 to 5. Well, we have more than 1, but the one broken one, we've replaced it with 5 used ones, which I've spread across the 2 halls. Starting this month, both fire halls now hold bi-monthly training sessions. I run the training classes at the halls on the 2nd and 3rd Tuesdays of the month, and the deputy chiefs run practical and maintenance sessions on the 1st and 4th. I've reorganized our handheld radio system, and I'm happy to report that I will not now be requiring the $5,000 allocated in this year's budget for new radios. With the purchase of some new batteries and chargers and repairs to 2 existing radios, I feel sure we will have sufficient operational radios to see us through to the future. And in conjunction with the CAO, I've informed him that that $5,000 is in fact surplus within the fire budget for this year. There is sufficient money in the radio budget to deal with the repairs and extra supplies. 26th of May, DC Tom, who is our registered fire inspector, and I attended a commercial property on Highway 523 and conducted a fire inspection. The results of that inspection have now been served on the owner, and a re-inspection is planned for the end of July. I would note there that only minor infringements were discovered, and that should be very easily rectified by the owner and his staff. I'm in contact with a charity that donates used and surplus fire equipment to firefighters in the Ukraine, and I'm awaiting from them their list of acceptable equipment, and subject to that list, I intend to donate our stock of old, outdated bunker gear and boots. Or failing that, I have a second charity that have expressed an interest in this equipment. I believe they send it to Africa, and they don't care what the equipment's like. So either way, I hope to clear out some of our cupboards and give us a little bit more regular storage space for our operational equipment. I've also been asked by the CAO for my comments and opinions regarding some draft laws for the future, which I have responded to. And then, of course, not on your report, just as I'm about to leave on our vacation, I was informed on Wednesday, the 31st of May, by the MNRF AFFES that they'd invoked a restricted fire zone for over our region at midnight that night. So 1st of June, the morning of the 1st of June. I therefore decided to do likewise and implement a total fire ban. This was in an effort to avoid confusion over what was and wasn't, or who rather, was or wasn't allowed to have a campfire. All our township signs were changed by the 1st of June, and I thank Councillor Pigeon and the fire staff for actually rushing around on my behalf and getting all of the signs changed by the 1st of June. The Facebook page was also updated, as was the township website. And then I personally emailed all the campgrounds in our area, advising them of the ban. In my absence, DC Tom is deputising for me on this matter, as he also gets the regular daily updates from the MNRF regarding our fire hazards. And then I hope to give you a full report next month on the effects of that fire ban, and hopefully how we've, touch wood, managed to avoid it. I know you're all suffering with smoke. I get the daily reports from the MNRF, and they've included satellite pictures now of the smoke drifting across Ontario from Quebec. So although I'm not with you there in person, I feel the pain, and for anybody who's having breathing difficulties, I only wish there was more I could do. If any members of council have any questions, I'd be very happy now to answer them.
Any questions or comments for Fire Chief Collins? Okay, well, thank you very, very much, Councillor Fire Chief Collins. I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation, and we'll try not to have you zoom in.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor. I'll pass you back to Councillor Collins. Thank you.
Councillor Collins, are you back? They're just changing headsets, I would think.
Yes.
Okay. You okay, Councillor Collins?
I am in the hot seat, so to speak. Yes. Thank you.
The next report is from one of our staff people that went to the Good Roads Convention, David Japie, and thank him for giving this report. I don't know whether members of council want to add to that or not, or whether we'll just accept it as written.
I think David summarized it pretty well.
Nice job.
Yeah, he did a better job than I did, tell you that. Not at attending the conference, at summarizing the conference.
Yeah.
I personally think it was wonderful that we actually had someone who's working with the roads and in that environment attending this style of conference. I think there's a lot more that they can gain from it. Likewise, I mean, the Chiefs Fire Conference, I know David again attended that, but to actually have someone with hands-on experience attending these is very, very worthwhile. I think it was a good call. David, thank you for going.
Thank you. And next year we'll hope to have a road superintendent on that conference. Okay, any other comments or questions? Thank you. So the next item is the Murchison and Lyle Recreation Committee. Yo.
I don't really have anything to add, just that something has come up at the hall, and Adam Zebard is working on it. There's at one of the funeral lunches, the ladies in the kitchen were complaining about how hot it was, and I went over by the stove. The stove was not hot, but the air exchanger, instead of sucking air out, was blowing hot air in. And that was a correction made by Welks, which was absolutely incorrect. And he has somebody booked to look at it, but I think it's the 15th or the 16th of this month before they can get in to look at it. But for right now, he just shut the switch off. There's a the thermostat is stuck. For some reason, that system replaces the air that's sucked out by heated air. Now, why you would heat air going into a kitchen, like you're trying to get rid of the heat, not add to it.
Right.
Anyway, he measured, after I complained to him, he went and he looked at it, he checked it out, and he used a temperature probe, and it was 30-degree heat coming into the kitchen from the exhaust vent. So anyway, it's going to be looked at in a couple of weeks and hopefully correct it. For right now, he just has the thermostat shut off, so the heater can't work.
Okay,
It can still exhaust, like everything's fine. You can still use the kitchen. Just that one part of it is shut off.
okay, anything else to be added? Okay. Thanks, Councilor Florence. With that, I will move to Stephen Brown to give the vote report. Thank you very much for attending.
Good morning, everybody. As you guys are well aware, I just 2 weeks into the new job here. I just put together some notes for what we've been working on the last few weeks and what's sort of coming up. So in terms of our grading operations, our grader was broke down. We got that fixed up. So the last couple of weeks, we've had it working every day. And Halen Lake is done, Madawaska area, the dump is done. And the Macaulay Lake Road has been done, Victoria Lake Road done. We worked our way up to Whitney, so we got Popensky Road done. Whitney area has all been done. Mackenzie Lake, we finished this week. We finished off at Hay Lake yesterday. McGuey Road yesterday, and we're into the 0127 now. So by the end of today, we should finish the 0127. We got to go into Hilltop Road. And then after that's done, we'll be taking the grader back down to do some maintenance down at the shop. And we're going to hit Dunn's Road on the way down. So we're hoping that all the grading is going to be wrapped up here in the upcoming weeks. And I've spoken, the next thing on our agenda is getting all the calcium down. So Miller Paving is going to be doing that for us. I spoke to Bob from Miller, and our plan is to have 2 loads put down next week, 2 the following week, and the final load the last week in June. So that'll get all the calcium placed on all the township roads by the end of the month. So that's going to be coordinated on a weekly basis going forward. But that's the update for grading and calcium. In terms of grass cutting, we have a crew out pretty well every day that's going. Grass is growing fairly quick this time of year. You pretty well got to hit all the areas at least once a week now. So we've come up with a schedule and we're going to hit all the areas once a week. So that'll be ongoing. Street sweeping operations. So both the Madawaska Whitney areas have been done. The last thing to do here is Major Lake Bridge. So we're doing that actually today. That's being done. And then we'll be, there's some potholes and stuff that need to be repaired there. We're going to do that as soon as the sweeping is done. So that's update on the street sweeping operations. We've had a couple guys going around and we're marking out wherever there's potholes and throughout the township and getting those areas fixed up best that we can. So that's another thing we're working on. In terms of equipment maintenance, both the safeties have been done on our utility trailer and the float. Murray's safety the float last week, so we're able to use that again. Also the F550, there were issues with it, so we got that resolved under warranty last week. So that's back in operation this week. And like I had mentioned, the grader is fixed up and it's rolling on a daily basis there now. In term, I put something down here for tender and quotations. Tracy has sent out the winter sand tender last week, and that'll be closed by the end of the month of June. And then I also reached out to 5 suppliers for culverts that we have planned to replace for this season. I got all the quotations now, and then we'll be reviewing our budget and the quotes and get stuff ordered up here in the next week or two. The game plan would be to have all the culverts at the yard in Madawaska by the end of the month, so that once grading and calcium operations are done, we can get going on culvert replacements. So that's what I had in there for those. And in terms of safety, there was an issue down at the yard in the last meeting minutes for the last council meeting where the guys were getting, there was static, there was voltage at the stray voltage at the fuel cells down there. So Hydro had installed 19 grounding rods next to the yard. It did bring it down, not enough that they were satisfied. So they were back in last week to put 19 more in. And I'm just waiting to hear back. They're going to test again on that issue and they're going to give us an update very soon on if we can get back to using our fuel cells down there. So that's pretty well all I had in terms of notes there. Anybody has any questions or?
Steve, who looks after down by the Iron Bridge past Adventure Lodge, where all those rocks are, where it was all washed out? Isn't that where somebody was
ministry.
hurt? Okay,
The ministry looks after that, and the ministry has said that they are not going to do any repairs down there. And I've had a few people come to me with those concerns. Because they say it's not township. I talked to Brian Martin about that. But it's an eyesore, and I believe it's a hazard.
it's dangerous, yeah.
It's very dangerous. There's nothing up there to say that it's there, as I understand. I didn't drive there. I've had people tell me. I don't know what we can do about that, but I believe that M&R has the responsibility to do something there. If we're going to promote tourism here,
Mhm.
you know, that was a major washout. So, I don't know what we do about it, but
I'll look into it, and maybe have an update for the next council meeting then.
It should be, something should be posted up there.
Something.
Because we took our bikes down that way and you literally had to get off and walk your bike down. Now an ATV probably wouldn't have an issue.
Hmm.
You certainly aren't gonna fit a car over, and there are the
no.
cottagers post that, right, or past that. That would try to access their cottage that way, so. I don't know where MNR's responsibility lies, but it's certainly not the bridge, it's the approach to the bridge just on that one side.
Yeah, it's the one that washed out before.
Yeah,
And people have voluntarily went down there and fixed it. And my understanding is that it's felt that it's an M&R issue. And I think you, Brian, you had a conversation about that with Josh. Yeah.
yeah, we took our bikes there about 3 weeks ago when there was a car on the other
Oh,
side.
God, yeah.
And could
I
back up.
don't know how they got across those rocks. They must have
Yeah.
came in the other way on those private roads, because I wouldn't take my truck across there.
No, it's bad.
Yeah,
You might not have to have a look at it, Stephen.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
But that's my understanding. It is an M&R.
Issue.
And should we ask for them to post
Yeah, we
something
could.
alerting people, because there, like you say, there is no signage saying that there's.
And there's no signage even at Adventure Lodge saying the road is washed out.
hazard or
Yeah,
something.
there's nothing.
Something ahead to warn them, yeah.
It's not a road per se, it's a trail.
Right.
Right,
And
But is it not
I-
part of the trail system?
part of the trail system, but it's not part of our road system.
No, it's not.
And I would suggest that, you know, we pressure the M&R to do something about it, but I don't think we should, because if we do anything, then we're liable.
right.
Yeah.
But we took 3 vehicles in there that day, 2 little cars and a Jeep.
It is accessed quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I usually walk the dog there.
Yeah.
During the summer, and it is quite busy.
Yeah, and there's some cottages in there too.
Yeah.
But everybody comes from the other end.
No,
You'll come across that,
Yeah, they come across it. They're trying.
really?
Yeah, and it's just there. It's a hole.
No, no.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just have one, for you, Stephen, that I'm sure Sandy Nicholas has gotten a hold of you already and discussed the cleaning of the beach road area and the beach of the trees and the brush. He and a few volunteers wanted to get at it earlier, and we thought we would wait until you got in the hot seat
Yeah.
here. I
Yeah.
don't, Brian and I and Tracy and Lori went for a walk and down there, and what he wants to do is not unreasonable. Has he met with you or?
He's mentioned it to me because I know him quite well,
Right,
but I can get talking to him about a timeline and stuff. And that's something we can get addressed, for
because
sure.
I think when Brian Acme joined us for that walk around, and his concern was, you know, sort of how to lay the brush so that it was easier for the township to pick it up and remove it.
Mhm.
There is quite a bit there. As far as we were concerned that day, there was no issues in regards to the water. And he was, gonna either brush the larger trees and leave them and then just take all of the tag altery stuff.
I'll meet up with Sandy here in the next few days.
Yeah.
And then I'll see the limits where he wants to brush there and we'll get that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Sandy and I went there also. And I talked to Brian about, the only concern we had at the time was that it wasn't right at the lake. That was the only concern. But I think it's a good project, and once it'll look really good once it's done.
Stephen, in last year's budget, there was money allocated to upgrade the heating and the cooling system in your office down there.
I seen
I
that.
was in your office talking to you earlier or late last week, and it was kind of warm in there. And just reminding you that I think that money went in reserves, so it could be spent now.
That was the intention.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I seen it in the budget there, so.
yeah. Well, I think you could go ahead and spend that money if you are
That's
so
been-
Get
inclined.
her fixed up, yeah. Sure. But
That's
that's,
that way, so it won't stay in the office too long.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
Thank you for
Steve,
the update of what you're doing, Stephen. It really helped me
Yeah.
to identify what might be being done in that, so I
so
just want to.
one thing I'd like to do is I send out like a 3-week look ahead to everybody there. And it's something I was used to doing and it gives all the counselors, everybody an update on what's planned for the next 3 weeks. It's not a set in stone schedule, but it's what's planned. And if there's any complaints or issues that come up in the meantime from all the counselors, we can put a section in for miscellaneous items and try to get a few of them addressed every week sort of thing. And that keeps it a little bit more organized, so.
It just helps when we're approached by the public, right?
Okay, that's your question. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Stephen,
Yeah,
Stephen,
Okay.
I know I'm not alone here, and I'm sure I'm speaking for all councillors. We are very, very appreciative of the work that you're doing and the way that you're informing us. And I think everybody thinks this is a wonderful step in the right direction with what you're doing. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephen. Any other questions, comments, Stephen?
I think Councillor Collins, your issue is directly related to Stephen, so maybe if you want to bring it up while he's
Oh,
here.
yes, of course. I was down, well, actually, Ian and I were down at the landfill, just dropping off some rubbish before we went on vacation, and was completely aware of the amount of dust that was being kicked up down there. It was quite breezy and it was awful. And the landfill attendant should be able to retreat into that hut out of the dust, and obviously us offering shade. Now, there is no cooling in there, and I think a solar operated fan would be a very simple way to get a little bit of a breeze and somewhere in the shade for them to retreat into, especially as we've got the summer months, approaching. And the other thing that I think we are very, very amiss, and from an HR point of view, I really think there should be a toilet facility for them. I think for each of the dump attendants, there should be a porta-john situated at the dump for their use only, because the other option is that they have to close the dump and drive to the nearest outhouse, which is going to be 20 minutes, well, 15, 20 minutes for the dump being closed. And I think to maintain the staff we have, and we have good staff now, I think we need to take care of them a little bit better than we have been doing. And was hoping that that could be put on the agenda sooner rather than later. 12 volt
agree.
electric fans or solar electric fans would be a very nice quick alternative to give them a breeze in the hut, and a porta-john I'm sure can be arranged. It's nothing that's a lot of money, but I think we need to take care of their welfare, and that's what I wanted to bring up in front of everybody sooner rather than wait to an asset management meeting. I don't know what the rest of council thinks about that, but it's sort of over to you, to Stephen, to organise, please.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the update. Like I say, I'm just getting up to speed, but that's a very good point to bring up. Like the working conditions, especially in the summer, you want to make sure the guys who do have there, they have spots to go to the washroom and stuff for sure. Yeah, good point. I'll look at that in the upcoming weeks there and have an update for you guys as soon as possible.
Well, I think with regards to the solar fan in the hut, and I think it's essential. We want them to drink plenty of water, and the offshoot of that is they're going to need to pee more. And it's not very nice for the general public to come in and them not be there or see them peeing behind a bush or what have you. I think we have an image issue here too, as well as care for our attendants and our staff. I think it needs to be dealt with sooner rather than later, before it gets unbearably hot. Thank you.
I don't see any disagreement with members of council, so thanks, Stephen. We'll take a look at that.
I'll look at that right away for sure.
Thank you, Stephen.
Any other questions, comments, for Stephen? Well, you're out of the hot seat, Stephen. You're welcome to stay, or we can just continue.
Very
on
good.
with Council.
I'll good talking to you guys later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other committee reports that I've missed? Okay, I'm going to move on to any staff report. Brian, you have anything you want to report here or later? Thanks.
Got anything else to add?
No? Okay.
At this time?
Okay. Council reports. Joe, could you chair for a few minutes? Excuse me. We're voting in council reports.
Why don't you just
Joe,
have,
5 minutes.
why don't you just have a
we have
5 minute
five.
recess?
Okay, good. We're taking a 5-minute break. Councillor Collins. Councillor Collins, we're taking, and the members of the public, we're taking a 5-minute wellness break.
Thank you.